Hello guys, I'm here today with Mark Ennis from Ireland. He's been kind enough to donate some time out of his day today to talk about bodybuilding on the carnivore diet, a bit about training, and I'm sure we'll go a lot into mindset as well, which I think is something which people tend to miss out on. Something that's not often considered as well. So how you doing, Mark?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good, thanks. It's nice to record at this time of day. So we're both awake and ripe and ready to go.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. There should be no excuses. There should be no excuses now in this interview. No tiredness.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so I wanted to bring you on today to firstly ask about how you got into training, and maybe how you got into the carnivore diet as well. Like, was there any sort of health issues you came across and things like that?
Okay, so we're talking about a long time ago is when I got into the gym. So I've been doing pretty much the gym now for the last, let's say, 20 plus years, maybe 25, I'd say. I started off doing sports in school. I was always the fat kid in school. But I was always good at sport, funny enough, but I was just pure lazy. And so like every other child, your mother and father just gave you the food that we were all brought up to grow up with, like spuds and potatoes and stuff like that. And I got fond of the odd bit of cake here and then. And I always grew up that, because in our household we always had dessert pretty much after dinner. So had that for a long time ago. Then I got into sports, and I remember asking my mother, like, I want to do more. Like, can I buy some weights? And she was like, why don't you just join a gym? And at the time I was around 16 years of age, and I think the legal age for a gym back then was around 18. So I went up and I just snuck my way in. I just asked, I knew the woman very well, and I said, listen, can you get me in? Like, is there any chance you just sneak me in? And I was in there for about 2 years, but I got so addicted to it, really addicted to it, that it basically hindered my health. So I ended up going anorexic, bulimic. I was training maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, standardized. I was watching my food. I was watching all these magazines telling me to eat 6 meals a day, eat like high protein. And the funny thing, what I was noticing about all of this was I was eating a load of carbohydrate, a load of protein, but I was having no fats in my diet whatsoever. So everything up here was getting destroyed, basically. Anyways, that went on for at least 2 years. Then people started to notice I was losing weight so quickly. Like, I was getting really thin. But it got to a stage when I used to look in the mirror and I used to pinch a bit of belly fat, and I'd be like, no, I still have to do more. I still have to go into the gym, do the cardio, do the weight training, and just keep on doing more and more. And it got to the stage where I was slowly but surely killing myself. And I remember when we were on holidays, we went to a small area in Corktown in Wales. It was, or not in Ireland. And I'll never forget it. I remember I was so weak, I had no energy, that I remember I got up off my bed, went to switch the TV, and apparently I fainted. Can't remember a thing. And my energy was so low that I was basically running on fumes, basically. So I wasn't eating any food at all. So I could have went around 3 or 4 days without eating any food. All that was on my mind was just going to the gym, training as much as I possibly can. So got help through that. That took me about 2 or 3 years. But during that time, I had a major eating disorder. So I flipped it on its head, basically. So I was always afraid of food. I was always afraid of, okay, if I add in certain foods, I'm going to put the weight on. So when I see a bit of a bloat if I'm a little bit bloated and my gut expands, I'm like, oh shit, I've actually gained a little bit of weight here. So I'd probably go out and do a run for about an hour. So I always had in my mind that I always had a bad relationship with food. I just wanted to be thin, no matter what, because I always grew up like being overweight, and to get from there to be thin was a big thing for me. And my mother and father wanted me to have some more discipline in my life. So these got me into rugby. So, and I was always the person that would be the shy kid. Like, I wouldn't hurt a fly. So going from one extreme into another extreme was just very daunting for me. And the minute I went in, they were said, listen, we're going to be feeding you. We're going to be eating a lot more food. So did that for about 2 years, and I literally ballooned up. I think within that 2 years, I gained an awful lot of weight, a lot of water weight. And at the time, at my peak, I think I was around 17 and a half stone. So I don't know what that is in pounds, but I was quite heavy.
A lot.
And yeah, I was running around the pitch and I was breathing heavy. And at the time, I was only about 21, 22 years of age. I was still quite fit. I enjoyed the weight training. I was lifting a lot of weight in the gym, but my performance on the pitch was absolutely shit. I would run probably 100 meters and I'd have to stop, and then I'd have to take a break for about 2 minutes and then go again. And you couldn't really do that on a rugby pitch, as you know. You've done it yourself. It's all like a lot of impact, a lot of kind of endurance work. So did that for a while, and I was like, I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. Like, I'm affecting my health here. But I was always told that in order to get big, you need to incorporate carbohydrates around your training. So basically, we had like trainers that would give you like bananas, probably a little bit of gels before you work out, before you train your training sessions, or maybe before you go on the pitch, they'd literally pump you with a lot of carbohydrates after training. And it got so bad where it was actually affecting my mindset. So my performance on the gym was getting shit. I'd be going home. I'd be feeling crap about the way I looked. Anxiety would start kicking in. I'd start feeling depressed about myself. And it got to a stage where I didn't know what to do. Just didn't know what to do at all. And for years and years and years, I did that. I basically played around my foods. I did the flexible dieting. I did the high carb. I did the high protein. I did the fasting. I did so many fads over the years, and I could never find the solution why this was actually causing the problems. And then I came across, I think I came across it by accident, because I understood what I was doing was I was just playing around with my food one day, and I just said, what if I just eat protein on its own and nothing else? And in a way, I was getting better, but then I was getting the digestive issues. Like I was still running around, but I had no energy. So I was like, well, where am I going to get my energy from? So, and I was looking at, again, magazines. I was like, well, yeah, you get your energy from your carbohydrates. And then I went on to college, studied the bleeding food pyramids. We're all told that, yeah, you need to have complex carbohydrates in order to fuel your workouts, in order to fuel your performance on the pick. So I did that for years and years and years, like everybody else. Did that for years. It wasn't working for me at all. And I kept on saying to myself, I must be the odd person out here. There must be something wrong with me. That why am I feeling like this? Why have I got gut issues? Why am I feeling like shit when I walk outside the door? And then I fast forward, like, Jesus, maybe 10 years later, I came across keto, and I looked into it, and it was like, okay, you need to eat more fats and basically proteins and very moderate carbohydrate. The carbohydrate will come from the vegetables. So I did that. Everything went really, really well. I was feeling very, very good. But there was still that bloat in there, and I couldn't understand where it was coming from. And then I came across Carnivore, I'd say probably about a year and a half ago. I stumbled across a few people on the internet, and I said, well, how can people just eat meat and feel really, really good? And surely you need to have carbohydrates in your diet if you want to grow muscle. So I looked into this as much as I possibly could. And I was looking at it, I'm saying, like, geez, their clients look absolutely fantastic. Amazing. And I said, I'm actually going to try this myself and see what happens. I'm just going to go meat-based with essential fats. So at the time, I was just eating lots of olive oil, coconut oil. I wasn't eating like high steak. Couldn't afford it back then. So I was just eating the chicken, adding olive oil onto it, going for sardines, stuff like just simple food that was kind of affordable back then. And I was like, I'm feeling great here. My skin is actually getting better. Everything else is just getting really, really good. My performance, I haven't lost any strength in the gym at all. What I've done is I'm actually getting more fat adapted. So at the beginning, my workouts were really, really bad. But as I prolonged through and I got really more into it and I got more fat adapted, I was actually getting better pumps. I didn't lose any muscle mass whatsoever, and I just kept saying to myself, like, I need to do this now for the rest of my life.
Wow, yeah, I find it amazing how parallel some of our experiences are. I mean, of course, we've got the rugby, different sports like that, and almost like disordered eating. I mean, I was a binge eater, not so much a bulimic kind of eater, but what amazes me is you're introverted just like myself, yet you have this strong persona, this strong character. So as I'm speaking to you now, I'm very engaged with what you have to say, which is quite unusual for people that maybe aren't as confident as a child. They're more shy, perhaps. So I find that you've achieved that in spite of your personal kind of setbacks and your experiences, which I find fascinating. So this brings me to our next question, which is based around your motivation. So if you look back, you've sort of had quite a tough childhood, not much money, experience of different diets and training routines. What's motivating you now to sort of carry on? And I understand that you're a coach with several different clients doing different things. What motivates you and what helps you to motivate other people?
So for me, I was literally on the ground. I mean, when I say I was about maybe 10% away from death, that's how close I was. So I've been on the dark side. I've seen it all. Trust me, I've seen it all. I went through so much trauma in my life. And I always said to myself, when I look back at it, and even when I'm going for walks, I'm always saying to myself, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. And from when I work with people, I can see it in them. I dial into like their mindset. I want to see what's there first of all, because we all know that weight loss is pretty much easy to do. We all follow these low bleeding calorie diets or whatever it is, and it's like, yes, we lose the weight, but how sustainable is it? Like, and then the first protocol is like, when you wake up in the morning, like, what's the mindset like? Like, how well do you feel? My mindset is switched on the minute I wake up. And people are always saying to me, like, how do you switch it on? And for me, it's about what I put in my body. So I give my body the right fuel, I feel great. I give my body the right sleep, I feel great. You know what I mean? I give my body the right training, I feel great. I don't need to give my body anything it doesn't need. I don't need to give any kind of stimulants. Don't need to overtrain. Don't need to stay up late at night time. Don't need to do any of that. You know what I mean? And it's just so, when we look at like the likes of coffee or pre-workouts, you see so many people go into the gym and first thing in the morning, they need that motivation from somewhere. And they're putting a stimulant into their body. And you're looking at it and you're like, hang on a second, what did you actually do the day before? I had a bar of chocolate. I maybe had a bar of chocolate before I went to bed. Or maybe I had a big carbohydrate meal before I went to bed. Or maybe yesterday was a really, really stressful day. Or maybe, you know what I mean, maybe I'm in a bad relationship. Stuff like that. And I'm like, well, hang on a second. You've got all this in front of you, but you're willing to put that to the side, have a pre-workout that's actually going to do nothing for you whatsoever. It's going to maybe increase your energy, but after that, then you're going to come crashing back down. All those problems that are over here are going to resurface again. So what about if we just get rid of the pre-workout, focus on all this stuff over here? Your mindset will be switched on every single day, and you will actually go in and actually enjoy those workouts. And that's where I've always done. That's what I've always done. I have a routine in my life that I actually enjoy. I love my training. I never go into the gym feeling crap. You know what I mean? I feel fantastic. I know what I'm going in there to do. And I try and spread that across social media. I try and come across as not someone with a big ego or someone that knows everything. It's just trying to get my motivation across to you, that you don't actually need all this misinformation out there about food and about supplements. You don't need any of that. You just need to listen to basically your hunger signals, your energy levels, your stress levels, all of those things. Try and adapt to each one, and your life will actually improve a lot better.
Yeah, very well said. I think people don't quite understand it's all within you. These things are all within you. You can't buy motivation in a bottle or a tub of protein powder or pre-workout. There's not a pill that's going to give you the results you want. It comes down to, 1, putting in the work yourself, 2, finding your reason why, 3, buying all the stuff that me and Mark sell. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, shameless plug there.
Yeah.
But my next question is about training, because you've kind of mentioned how you get up quite early in the morning, very early in the morning, and get on with your day. you go through workout. I mean, what does a workout look like for you right now?
So for me at the moment, I train low volume. So I'm pretty much in and out of the gym within 45 minutes. There's many, many reasons why I do this. The first one is I've got a really, really busy lifestyle outside the gym. Like really, really busy. Like I work with a lot of clients, so I have to be on time for check-ins, for calls, and then I have to do an awful lot of stuff on social media. Then I run a boot camp business as well. So I have so much going on outside the gym. And I want to make sure my family is looked after. So I always made a commitment to myself. I'm not going to be one of those selfish fathers that trains throughout the day, works throughout the day, and then I miss out on time with my family. So I always made that commitment. I'm going to wake up early, get about 95% of my work done before everybody else wakes up in the morning. So I pretty much have everything done by around maybe 6, maybe half 6. Then I'll go to the gym. And then pretty much the rest of the day, then I'm answering calls. And then when I'm in the gym, my training is basically low volume. So for me, I always train to failure. So when I go into the gym, I'll pick maybe 4. Let's say I'm doing a back workout. I'm not one of those people that goes into the gym and does 25, 30 sets on an exercise or even on a body part. I go in, I'll probably pick 4 or 5 exercises on different angles of the back. I'll take every single one of those sets to failure, and I'll maybe finish off with some bicep work and maybe a little bit of core work, and that's it, and I'm done. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want to go into the gym, kill myself, destroy my CNS system, my central nervous system that affects me for the rest of the day. I want to make sure I'm feeling good, I'm feeling energized. If I was to go into the gym and mentally destroy myself in the gym, that's going to have an effect on me throughout the whole day. I'm going to want to go home. I'm going to want to nap. You know what I mean? I'm going to be exhausted. It's going to show on my check-ins. It's going to show because I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be yawning. I don't want that. My job will always come first. My family will always come first. Always. And then the gym is last. So I'm not in a position right now. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not a power lifter. You know what I mean? I have responsibilities outside of that will always that I will always pick first over the gym.
Yeah, I like your approach to training as well as life. And I mean, as a coach, you're often micromanaging other people's lives in some cases, and it's quite inspirational to see you doing so much at one given time. Not many people have that capacity to work that hard or to that extent that often. Do you have any sort of top tips for people, or maybe a few suggestions where, for example, someone might say to me, okay, Jonathan, I can't go to the gym this often. I can't eat these meals. I can't fit this into my schedule, which is to benefit my body composition. What would you say to them? So people that are using excuses, basically.
So first of all, it might be always excuses, but I would say is like, look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself and say, okay, I know this phrase is probably thrown out a lot, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it for this video. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Okay, your 24 hours is different to mine. Now, when we look at the science says that 20 minutes to a half an hour workout pretty much is all you need a day. You don't need to be in a gym for an hour and a half. That's a fact, absolute fact. And you can still get amazing results in a short amount of time. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, if you're one of those people that are making excuses that you're like, I can't do this and I can't do that, it is an excuse. It really is, because there's most people out there, and myself included, that's got a family, that's got work. I mean, I work nearly 10 hours a day, and I still fit in the gym. I have a family. I have two girls. You know what I mean? I've got dogs that need to be walked. You know what I mean? I've got so much in my life at the moment. I can't be, as I mentioned earlier, I can't be selfish and greedy. I need to be responsible and say, yeah, I can still pay the bills. I can still look after my family. I can still walk my dogs. Like I don't get anybody to do the work for me. Like, I still prep my own meals. You know what I mean? I still clean the house. I still do my chores. I still do what I have to do. Like, even when my little girl was in school, collected from school, I always made sure that she always saw me as a father figure instead of a person that works. Always. And I just think it's about, like, if you haven't got time to go to the gym, just get up a little bit earlier. Set your alarms, get up a little bit earlier, and what will happen is you'll get used to this routine. your body will get used to it. You'll actually enjoy it. But if you're forcing yourself to do something, you're not going to be able to do it. And you need to go back to what Jonathan says. Like, you need to go back to your reason why. Like, why do you want to change? Why do you want to improve? What is it you want to do? We know that the word of, like, I just want to lose weight is thrown out there a hell of a lot. But why do you want to lose weight? It has to go deeper than that. You have to have a purpose and why you need to train. Like, when you go into the gym, like, what's your purpose? What are you going into the gym to train for? Are you going into the gym just to do a lot of cardio? Or are you going in to do weight training? So when we look at the specific type of training that you're trying to do, if you're trying to lose weight, you actually don't need an awful lot of cardio to lose weight. We know we can actually lose weight by just focusing on our knee. So if you focus more on what you do throughout the whole day, clean and bring your kids to school and all this, you will lose weight. Simple. And then if you mix that with like the right diet and the right food and put in your body, you will lose weight. Then what will happen is you will actually enjoy it. You'll actually look in the mirror and you'll be like, I have so much more energy now. I feel great. I want to do more. So that's when you'd be like, okay, maybe I'll go to the gym. Maybe I'll hire a coach. Maybe I'll have different goals in, say, 6 months' time. I might want to step on stage. I might want to do a photo shoot. I maybe want to step into a bikini. Maybe I want to walk down the beach feeling fucking amazing. All this kind of stuff. You have to have something to work towards. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with all that. It makes perfect sense to me. We've done a bit about motivation, not making excuses, training. I want to ask you as well about your current diet. I understand you've got quite a different diet to what people on the carnivore diet typically do, but what does a day of eating look like for you? Perhaps what are your macros currently, something like that?
So my macros at the moment is around 185 protein, and I think I'm on around 245 grams of fat. Now at the moment, I'm quite flexible with my food at the moment because I'm in an off season at the moment. So for those that don't know, I'll be competing in a bodybuilding show in November. And what I've been doing in the last couple of months, I've been actually pushing my food up and seeing if I can get away with eating more food. So I'm on a lot more than pretty much my macros at the moment. So I would say I'm on probably maybe around 200 grams of protein and maybe just over 200 grams of fats. So I don't know what that is in calorie wise, but I'm eating a lot of food. And the reason why that is, as I said, I just want to see what I can get away with. I still look very, very lean. And I think I've always had the thought that if you're improving in the gym and you're getting stronger, your food should be improving along the way. I don't want to be stuck on a set amount of food. If I'm improving in the gym, I'm going to give my body what it wants. So a typical day for me now, when I wake up in the morning, I don't fast. Like maybe I'll have a tea with maybe some butter in it, maybe about 20, 30 grams. I'll wait a couple of hours. And this is on a non-training day. But on a training day, I will go to the gym fasted, but I'll make sure that the meal that I have the night before consists of a good amount of protein, a good amount of fat. So when I wake up the next day, I'm ready to go. I feel good. I just need to hydrate myself. But then after that, that's when I'll wait a couple of hours. I'll listen to my hunger signals. If I'm very, very hungry, I'll eat pretty much probably an hour later or maybe 3 hours later. It depends. At the moment, I have 3 meals a day. So my first meal of the day would consist mainly of high protein and maybe a little bit more fat, a little bit less fat. So that'll be pretty much my post-workout meal. Then maybe a few hours later, then I'll have a fattier meal. This is where I'll have maybe salmon or a big steak meal or something like that. And I'll probably have the same, but I'll probably have mince before I actually go to bed. I'm not one of those people that can have dairy, unfortunately. Dairy just upsets my stomach. If I taste a bit of dairy, I literally blow up. So I get inflamed very, very quickly. So I'm quite limited to the food that I have on Carnivore. It's like, for example, the fats kind of option. I can only get them pretty much on meats. Or I've actually looked for a replacement when it comes to butter. Cacao butter is actually very, very good as well. It has pretty much the same ratio as butter, the same fat content. It tastes amazing as well. So I find I can get most of my fats from cacao butter. I might use some coconut oil. I might use some olive oil. But most of the food that I'm getting is just from animal-based protein.
Yeah, thanks for your answer. I can appreciate that. We do have different tolerabilities to different foods. Some things really don't work well for me. I had some onions the other day, and Sophie did not thank me for it. Yeah, so you can imagine how that went. But yeah, you kind of mentioned the point of having supplemental fats basically through cacao butter. So my next question is about supplements themselves. One, are they useful? Two, do you need them? Three, do you use any? And four, what would you say to people that are looking to spend all their money on crap they don't need?
Okay, so yes, I was one of those people that would spend a fortune on supplements years ago. I'd spend more on supplements than I would on food. And this is the reason I had no money back then because I was spending so much money on bleeding supplements. So the likes of your protein powders and creatines and stuff like that, for me personally, you get it all in your food. I mean, I know there's a lot of science about creatine and how good it is. It's fantastic. But at the end of the day, you can get creatine in red meat. So you actually don't need it. And when we look at all our vitamins and minerals and stuff like that, you get them all in meat. Like your vitamin, you can get vitamin C in all in meat. I mentioned pre-workouts earlier on. For me, it's just a big money grabber. It really is. I find that when you eat real food, it actually sticks to the body better, and you actually look a lot better. Whereas when you're focusing on supplements, you could get bloated, you might get inflammation, you could just feel gassy, you could be farting all the time. It's not a good look. And if you're going out and you're spending a fortune on a tub of protein, and you're not spending the same amount of money on like natural protein food, there's probably an issue there.
Yeah, I completely agree. People think that because it's supplemental, it's therefore by default, by nature, it must be safe. At one point in time, I was using turmeric or curcumin capsules to reduce inflammation. It was effective at reducing some markers of inflammation, but it did actually make me iron deficient. So it did make me anemic, and I was actually consuming a large amount of red meat at that time. So I was actually getting a net negative from the food I was eating. So it's not a case of, eating a ribeye steak and some eggs and having, I don't know, some kale with it or some sort of green powder capsule thing. That could actually put you backwards. And people don't realize that. They think it's all positive chelation, but it's not. It's negative chelation where it binds different nutrients. So my next question for you basically is, with your upcoming competition, be 4, 5, 6 months down the line or something, what are you looking at to achieve with that? And is it more for intrinsic motivation or intrinsic kind of win? What is the reward for you?
So for me, it's not about the win. So I'll go back to my childhood. It's much more than that. I mean, you and Colt know this more, but I've actually spoke about this a few months ago. But for me, it's always been, I've always had a body dysmorphia. Like most people that see me on my page will always see me in the gym with one of these on or a jumper on, and like say, why is he training in the gym with a jumper and a jacket on? It's a lot more deeper than that. Again, when I was younger, I had issues with food. I was bulimic, and in my mind, to this day, I still have that in my mind. Even when I look at myself in the mirror, like if I took my top off right now, I'd be terrified. And it's one of those things I have. I just have that phobia about how I look. When I look at myself, I just say to myself, like, I'm never gonna be happy. And it's horrible to say. And my mother gets very, very upset when I say it. And I get upset myself when I say it. So I remember back in around November time, I spoke to Linda, and I said to her, like, listen, I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. I'm in my 40s now. I need to like bury this for good. And where's the best place to do it? And in my mind, I was like, just do it on stage. Do it on stage in front of a big crowd, bury those demons, and just move on. And I reached out to a coach in November. He had a bodybuilding background. I said, right, let's just go all in. Let's just go all in. Let's just do what he says. Let's not go into this with a mindset of winning the show. Let's go into this where you're going to take that top off. and you're going to be proud of yourself. Really, really proud of yourself. And nothing has ever changed for me. Nothing has changed for me at all. I'm not going over to achieve success. I'm not going over to bring like a package that people will be proud of. Like, I'm kind of having fun with this because I know I have something bigger to look forward to. It's a big thing for me. It really is. As I said, there's only very, very few people in the world that see me without me top off. It's very, very few. And when I do, as I said, when I take it off, it's just going to be a massive, massive moment for me. I'm going to be proud of myself, really, really proud of myself. I'm going to come back and basically just never, ever talk about it again, ever. It's just one of those things that I'm just going to bury forever. As I said, never look back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seriously touched by that. I probably don't look it, but I'm seriously touched by your story. Coming from a similar background to you, I can appreciate how difficult it is to put yourself in front of people in these situations where you're bearing all near enough. It's tough because although you will do this show and you'll get whatever placing, I know that doesn't matter to you. As bodybuilders, we are our own worst critics. And what eventually happens is we strive for perfection, but oftentimes it's not what we can achieve. We push and push and push harder to get what we want. And I always notice that we can just try so hard, but not have the appearance we want. So I find it amazing that you're now saying this about doing the show. And you're doing it for yourself to show your loved ones, people that respect you, and vice versa, that you can achieve something in spite of all the setbacks. So you can look at yourself now, when you finish that show, when you finish that competition on that stage, you've done something which 99.9% of people will never be able to do, ever. They'll never be able to achieve that. So all the naysayers, all the people that have put you down, made your life difficult, maybe said you don't look good or whatever it happens to be, well, that's all mute. It's nothing.